Hello and welcome back to Suspense Animation. I am your host, Dennis Patholkas, and this is Saturday Morning Blast Off. And yes, this is the time when we talk about all things genre and the news that happened within them. Um, yeah, there's been a lot of news this week. A lot of news this week. Uh, sorry, we're having a little early chat session here in the chat there, and we were kind of making little jokes here and there. So I was reading some of those. It was kind of funny. Anyway, while we let some more people trickle in, I'll start with some of the other stuff that's happening here in the news. And I don't know if you all watched that show that was on Netflix called Disenchantment. It was an animated series by Matt Groening. And I don't think a lot of people really watched it. The first season was actually supposed to be 20 episodes long. They only showed the first half, the first 10 episodes, which ended kind of on a cliffhanger, if you will. Well, they finally announced, I mean, that was earlier this year or maybe even the end of last year. I can't remember when it got released. So the second half of the season, which is another 10 episodes, is finally being released September 20th. I don't know if anyone's going to watch it. It wasn't great. It wasn't, you know, yeah, exactly, Viking Bitch. I understand. Yeah, you watched it and lost interest. I actually got all the way through it. It wasn't it wasn't anything really memorable. It was okay. I highly doubt it's going to get a second season. If they took them this long to get the second half of the first season out there, as they're calling it Disenchantment 2, they're not even calling it Disenchantment Season 2 or Disenchantment Season 1.5 or anything like that. They're calling it Disenchantment 2 like a movie. So, test tricklers. Test tricklers. I get that movie, Finobi. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Movie Finobi says never saw the show. Yeah, you're not really missing much. It's there is something that was kind of funny about some things, but it really wasn't worth it. Um Slurmy Scott, I don't think it was any of the people that have worked on Futurama or any of that. Oh, hey Feisty, how's it going? Thank you everybody who's joining me in the chat today. Yeah, it wasn't any of those guys. Those guys have all gone off and they're doing their own things now. They are not working on this show. This is going to be the probably a whole bunch of new people, a new team of people. And I don't know how much say Matt Groening has in this, other than he probably came up with an idea and then kind of left it with them with the writers' room. And it's kind of shown there's really not a lot of there's really not a lot of great story in this show. So yeah, I don't blame you if you haven't seen it. It's really not worth it, to tell you the truth. But what is worth it, season 4 of Rick and Morty is going to premiere on Adult Swim in November. They just said November. They didn't give a date. They just said November, which I'm happy with. I mean, you don't need to have an exact date and anything like that. And before anybody asks, no, I am not covering season 4 of Rick and Morty. Why am I not covering season 4 of Rick and Morty? Because Rick and Morty fans are fucking rabid. If you think Game of Thrones fans are rabid, or Venture Brother fans are rabid, it is nothing compared to Rick and Morty fans. And these are the same people that are gamers and stuff like that do swatting and shit like that. I don't want to be involved with any of those people. So I will watch it because I like the writing. I like it's very bleak. It's a very bleak show, I have to admit. But there is a lot of comedy in it as well. And I enjoy it for what it is. But no, I will not cover it. Movie Finobi. God, man. What's going on? Have I heard anything about Venture Brothers? I know that if I remember correctly, they have like they're up to three seasons. So season 9 is supposed to be what they are contracted through right now. They just finished season 7. So season 8, I don't know when that's coming out. If it follows anything like this time, it's going to be 2 years, from when they handcraft this thing. So they go through Doc Hammer and Jackson Public, go through each season, write out all the episodes. They pass them back and forth between each other to see if there's anything that they have missed out on or want to add to, that kind of thing. They send them out to overseas, have them animated. They come back to them. They have to see what it looks like and have any corrections made. So it takes a long time because it's almost like old school handcrafting animation that they're doing. And yeah, so it takes a long time. Exactly, Viking Bitch. That's the reason why Venture Brothers is pure quality. They take their time with it. Dante S says Rick and Morty is so good. I don't know anything about the fandom. No, the fandom is rabid, Dante. It really is. I mean, it's really bad. That's all I'm going to say. Really, really bad. So that is the reason why I will not cover it, and I won't even touch it with a 10-meter cattle prod. And that's a long, long cattle prod. In case you didn't know. Oh, wow. So let's get to one of the main stories here, huh? How about that? What you guys have all been waiting for. Who's your Batman? Or who's your daddy? You know, that kind of thing. The two front runners, the two main front runners right now, there is one other front runner as well, but he's been kind of pushed off to the side. There are really two main front runners right now. It's Robert Pattinson from the Twilight series, yes, and Nicholas Hoult, who you probably remember as Beast from the X-Men First Class series. Those two are in the final running for Batman right now, or the Batman, as Matt Reeves is calling it. And supposedly, this, Batman is going to be more noir than anything else. It's supposed to showcase off the detective skills of Batman in this one. So, um, I've seen Pattinson's acting after this, and I like his acting. His acting isn't bad. Once you got him out of that shitty Twilight series, his acting is not bad. Is he Bruce Wayne and Batman? No, I don't think so. Is Nicholas Holt? No, I don't think so. I know why they're skewing young. They want to have a long franchise with these people. They want to have at least five. They want to do the Marvel thing with it, where they have someone who's going to last 10 years, 15 years, something like that. And did you hear there's a petition to stop Robert Pattinson from being Batman? I'm not surprised. There's a petition for everything now because it's a whiny bunch of fucking fan babies, is really what it is. "Wah, you're destroying my childhood. Wah." Yeah, fucking get over it, man. Get the fuck out of the house. You know, if you're seriously, if you're making a fucking petition online because you don't like an actor that's going, to be a character that you like, fucking put that waste of time on something more important, like solving homelessness, solving poverty, solving hunger, that kind of shit. That's much more important, motherfuckers. God, off my soapbox now on that one. God damn, man. There are so much more important things in the world. This is supposed to be entertainment. Entertainment, which means you do this on the side and it entertains you to bring you down from the shit that happens in this world. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, really, if this is your end all be all and this is your last stand that you're going to make, your priorities are really seriously fucked as a person. That's all I'm going to say. You know, get out there, do something else, unplug for a little while, you know, take a look, travel the world, walk the earth like Cain, motherfuckers. So there you go. Dante S says, I just noticed your title, Game of Fan Babies. Yes, that is what I'm calling it, Game of Fan Babies. And I'll get to that one in a moment because that one's also. So going back to the Batman, there are a few things that have come out besides this being moved over to the detective portion of it. But we also found out that Penguin and Catwoman are rumored to be the bad guys in this one, which I'm okay with. Also, I've been hearing that Warner Brothers has been putting Pattinson through costume testing, screen testing, you name it, to see if he's the right fit. They don't want to have another Affleck situation, which they are already creating in and of itself because of who they chose. And yeah, I would have gone with an unknown completely, to tell you the truth, just because of this. Anybody who is anybody who is actually involved in any other franchise at this point is going to be pre-tainted by the internet and these fan babies. And yeah, and then you're going to end up getting petitions and all these bullshit things going on. Just find somebody who is an unknown. There are plenty of unknowns out there. Cast him as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and then add supporting characters that are actually big names. That's all you need to do. That's all Warner Brothers should be doing at this point, you know? I understand they want to go with a name to prop up the Batman. No, you don't. Just get somebody unknown. Chris Hemsworth, he was pretty much unknown when he was cast as Thor. I mean, he was sure in a few things here and there, but he was pretty much unknown, and Thor kind of pushed him up there. And he did a fine job. He did an excellent job, as a matter of fact. But, yeah, exactly, Feisty. Best casting ever. There you go. You get the right actor for the part. That's all you need to do. You don't need to get the name for the part. You get the best actor for the part. Damn. I know I sound like I'm preaching a lot today, which I guess I am. And it's just the matter of the news that we've got out there because of all these people that are whining, quite frankly. And man, they really need to just shut the fuck up, calm down, and get a life, as William Shatner says, man. Have you ever kissed a girl? And for those of you who don't know what I'm saying, because it is a probably 35-year-old bit now, it was when William Shatner was on Saturday Night Live and playing himself at a convention, comic convention. Best, best ever skit that they've ever done. Ah, okay, let's talk about the petition outrage. Sure, why not? So, I call this game of fan babies. So, there's a group of people now, it's grown over to 1 million signatures who have signed a petition to have season 8 of Game of Thrones remade in their image or whatever the fuck they want to have done. And uh, I'm man, what can I say about this? It's just fucking stupid, quite honestly. It's a TV show. I get it. You're not happy with the way it ended. Wah! There you go. Put a binky in your mouth and go and cry in the corner. That's all I can say. Is it a shitty season? Yes, it's a shitty season. Is it going out kind of shitty? Yeah, more than likely, but that's because you only have one person to blame, quite honestly, and that's George R.R. Martin. He would not play ball with the writers. He is not offering up any information to the writers. So they had to go off of finishing someone's work that has not given them any information about how this fucking thing is going to end. And they also have a shortened time frame with which to end it. So if you guys want to point any blame anywhere on any of this, it's George R.R. Martin, the guy who created this thing. He's the one who is not playing ball. There you go. There's no reason for this to be remade. Um, Wait until, and I can guarantee you George R.R. Martin's going to die before that last book ever comes out because he's not writing it right now. Yeah. He's more interested in wild cards at this point and whatever other crappy series that he had done previously, trying to get pushed out there like Night Flyers, which crashed and burned. So, yeah, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this one. I don't care. I mean, you guys really, you need to stop just signing useless fucking petitions. I understand it's an online thing. It's easy to do because you can do it from your lazy boy wearing your adult diapers that you're shitting in while you're playing your video games. God damn, go outside, take a shower first, hose off, take a couple of showers actually first. Go outside, see what the sun looks like. Interact with human beings in real life, like, face to face kind of thing. And just get out there and actually talk to other people. That's all I'm going to say. Ah. Stormy Scott says, I agree with Penn. It's just a way of showing how unhappy people are. No one expects this to be remade, is what Penn says. It's just to show that there's displeasure. Don't beat me for defending. I'm not. I understand there's people that aren't happy with it, but again, it's not HBO. It's not the writers. It's George R. R. Martin who's to blame for all of this. They have tried getting him to open up to let them know what's going on. They knew the shit was ending. They knew where it was going, and he still wouldn't offer them any information on how to do it. So they are trying to wrap it up as best as they can. There we go. Yeah. Oh man. Stormy Scott says, "Oh, you misguided man, dream on. If they think they will make money, they will hire a corpse." Oh, they already did that with Carrie Fisher. Yeah. Yeah, the flying nun. Exactly, Feisty. No one is forcing anyone to watch it. And I understand. You made it this far, you're into season 8, it's ending, and you want to see how it ends, and it's not ending well. Oh well, there's a lot of series that do that. Look at Lost. Well, it didn't start well to begin with, and it didn't end well to begin with, so, to end with. So there you go. Look at that last season of X Files that came out. Holy fucking shit! What the hell was that? You know. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of things that don't end well because they don't age well. That's what happens. Viking bitches, I just don't think there should be demand to change what we don't like. Will GRM have to rewrite the books if people don't like them? Exactly. He's not going to give a shit about if you don't like his books or not, just that you're buying them. That's all. Same thing with HBO. HBO doesn't give a shit if you don't like the series, just that you're watching it. Yeah, you're not going to buy the DVDs. Oh, well, you already paid for the subscription to watch it online. They've seen it already. There you go. They've already got your money. Mufino, says displeasure is one thing, but it's a poor form of expression. If a million people sign petitions to save canceled shows rather than rant about the end of one they haven't seen yet. Yeah. Good God. So speaking of canceled shows, The Tick, after 2 seasons, has been canceled at Amazon. Ben Edlund dropped this news Wednesday night. I am not happy about this because it's actually a good show. It's one of the shows that isn't fucking toxic, and it's well written. It's funny. The characters are great, um, and it's got a lot of tongue firmly planted within cheek when it's doing the superhero stuff. Exactly, Pen Farm Girl. Hashtag save the tick. There is still room to save this show. They are still under contract. Um, they are still, have the production company together. They are shopping it around at the moment. And I would love to see this thing live on, quite honestly. I love what, this iteration of it. This iteration is really good. All iterations of the tick have been awesome. Um, but I like Peter Seranovich, his version of this tick. It's actually closer to the comic tick and the cartoon tick than Warburton's was. I like Warburton's as well. I have it on DVD. I watch it from time to time. Really love it, but I like this version a little bit better. Exactly. More danger boat. You see all these hashtags popping up in the chat. These are all the hashtags you want to use. Hashtag save the tick. Hashtag lunatics unite. Hashtag lunatics. Hashtag lunatic army. And Luna being Luna. Yes. And of course, hashtag more danger boat. Exactly. Oh, Viking Bitch says, oh, the tick. That is a petition that we should have 1 million signatures. I can't believe we aren't getting more. Exactly. And Hulu would be a great place for it. With Future Man ending, have the tick end up there. It doesn't take that much money to make this show. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm a Tick fan from back in the 90s, is what I'm gonna say. I actually started reading the comic when it first came out. I actually got introduced to that comic from friend of one of a roommate of one of my friends who happened to have it. I leafed through it, started laughing my ass off, and had to buy it. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had to sell my first couple of issues. I had the original first issues, like the first printing. I saw it at my local comic book store on Free Comic Book Day, sitting up there for $40. I was actually contemplating buying it back again for my it was my own comic that I'd sold and buying it back. Yeah. Yep. Movie from Nobody says, by the way, Feisty, what's your take on the Watchmen trailer? Oh yeah. Yeah, I already talked about that last week. But yeah, oh, stop it, Pepper. Pepper's hearing the next door neighbor's dog bark, and of course, she's being lazy and laying there on the couch and woof. Yeah. So there's a little movie that came out this weekend called John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. And I saw it yesterday. And I do have a spoiler-free review. Um, it's probably the most violent movie I have ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of fucking violent movies, but I'm telling you, the body count reaches the double digits in the first 5 minutes of the movie. I'm not doing any spoilers, Andres Merrick. It's a spoiler-free zone on this one. Is it better than the first 2 movies? No, it's not, actually. There is something missing. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm gonna go back and see it again, but, the amount of violence, that's all I can say. Holy shitballs. Um, it was very cathartic, that's all I can say, and, yeah, the first 2 are definitely hard to top Pen Farm Girl, but this didn't quite do it justice. I don't know what it was, and, I don't know if it's the main well, there's no main villain, really. I mean, there is a bad guy, if you will, quote, unquote, "bad guy," but the way Mark Dacascos plays him, who I like. I like him as an actor, and I like him as a martial artist. It was really weird. I mean, uh, yeah, yeah. Movie says, "Nice, there's some crazy shit in that movie." Yeah, there is a lot of crazy shit in that movie. As Joe Bob Briggs would say, there's a lot of, foo in this, a lot of ways to die, gun foo, knife foo, book foo, uh, lots of foos in here, and, holy crap. Yeah, the first 2 are better, Mufinobi, I agree with you, the first 2 are definitely, definitely better, and there is something missing in this one, and this one has a lot of cameos in it too. I mean, a lot of cameos. I was actually surprised to see Jeff Amata in this. Jeff Amata is a stunt coordinator who's been around since the '80s. He is a great stunt coordinator. He started, I believe he cut his teeth with John Carpenter, if I'm not mistaken, and he and the director, Stileski are actually friends. They used to work out together and all this stuff, and actually Stileski was talking about he was in an interview recently for John Wick 3, and, he's a former stuntman. He got into the movie business via Brandon Lee, believe it or not, with The Crow, and, he knew Brandon. He used to work out with him and all that kinda stuff, and they were in training at the time when they heard about Brandon Lee passing away on The Crow, and then he was approached because he looked like him and moved like him a bit because they had done so much sparring together, and he was brought in to do the final scenes, posing as Brandon Lee for the movie. That's how he got started in this business. And Jeff Amata was one of those people that they used to work out with and all of this stuff. And I have followed Jeff Amata's work throughout all these different movies, and he is actually uh, very prominent and himself in this movie. And yes, Mufinobi, the knife fights are awesome. And I believe that is all Jeff Amata's work, by the way, because that is what he's known for is the knife stuff. So I'm sure it's also Stileski's stuff as well, being that he is a stuntman. Uh, you could say it's foo of foos, exactly Andres Mark. It is foo of foos. Um, what else was there? Did you see Braun? Braun? No, I haven't. Is that the kitchen appliance, Braun, that you're talking about? Mufinobi? I haven't seen it. Uh, Morks is out there somewhere with his fingers in his ears. I have not spoiled a single thing about that movie, and I will not spoil a single thing about that movie because that is not the way to go. If I'm going to spoil something about a movie, I'm going to put it in the titles. Even though I have this thing that says spoiler alert right above my shoulder here, I am not spoiling shit about this movie because go and see it. It's actually a lot of fun. The last half hour kind of drags a little bit. I will say that, but the first hour and a half or so flies by, and it's just really good. I know, but he doesn't want to hear a thing. I'm not saying a damn thing about it. That's all I'm going to say. Go and see it. It's worth it. If you've seen the first two and you enjoyed the first two, you're going to enjoy the third one as well. So there we go. Oh, there's also dog food as well in that too. So from the blah, 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 if I can speak, Penn Farm Girl says if someone wasn't expecting fights and a body count, they have no idea what John Wick is. Exactly. I just was not expecting that much of a body count in the first 5 minutes. I mean, holy shit. I was kind of blown away by just how much there was in that first 5 minutes. And it was like, wow. Hey, little crispy tenders. So yeah, holy wow. That's all I can say. It was some good stuff. Yes. So, oh, where do I go from here? Yeah, let's go that way. So, Disney is going to assume full operational control of Hulu with the option to buy out Comcast, which is the only other partner that's left right now in 2024. So, they are assuming full control of Hulu for right now, and then Comcast is going to get the money off of it as well that it makes, but they have the option to buy out all of Comcast shares by 2024 or in 2024, I should say. So Disney will now have, of course, we have the Disney Holdings, they have Fox, they have ABC, they're going to have Hulu now, and they're also going to have Disney Plus or D Plus, as we like to call it. That is five different things that they have their fingers in. That's enough for a hand to have your fingers and your thumb in there. I'm not going to touch that one. I just, yeah, I know. Uh, there we go. Hulu and Disney Plus, huh? Yeah, exactly, Mufinobi. It's the only thing I'm going to subscribe back to Hulu for is for the last season of Future Man. That's pretty much it when that comes out. I'm pretty much done with Hulu at this point. It's not worth it. Uh, they're really I found myself I was scanning through some of their stuff that they had on Hulu, and there's nothing there to take me into it. There's nothing there to drag me in. So I'm okay with it. You know, if that's the way they want to go, that's fine. Just as long as they start, they make some good stuff. That's all I can say. If not, we'll just sign a petition. We'll start a petition about it. We'll sign a petition for the petition. How's that sound? And we can have a petition to start a committee for the petition of the petition. Does that sound about right for everybody? Is that all agreement? I'll send you a petition on it and see if you want to go that way. Uh Movie says saw Endgame again last night as an encore. It really is a nice end cap for the movie series. Yeah, it is. It is. Is it perfect? No, it doesn't need to be. That's the whole thing. We shall burn down the world with all our petitions. No, actually, we'll just end up not doing anything because everyone's out signing petitions about petitions, and they're getting ready to sign a petition or start a petition about a petition. Slurmy Scott's the same for me, Dennis. I'd watch all Hulu and had that what I wanted to see, but will return for Future Man. I have not seen Endgame. Mhm. Money speaks loudest, petitions are wind. Exactly, Andrzej Marek. Yeah, exactly. If you guys want to, those people out there who want to remake season 8 of Game of Thrones, if you want to remake it, uh, get a couple of $1 billion together and buy your own company. Buy the rights to it and go ahead and remake it. There you go. That's pretty easy, right? All you need to do is have some money, like Jeff Bezos kind of money, and you can probably remake it. Do it your own way. That's not that hard. With all the petitions, we will turn into Vogons buried in paperwork. That already happened a long time ago. So some good news on a not so great thing, but Stan Lee's former self-appointed manager Kia Morgan was charged with 5 counts of elder abuse in an LA court this week, which is fantastic. That fucker needed to be put in jail a long time ago. Too bad it happened posthumously than now. And on another side note, he's nowhere to be found. Big surprise on that one. So, if anybody sees that little fucker out there, please report him to the police and have his ass arrested. So, because he needs to get put in jail and find out what abuse really is. That's all I'm going to say. Not that I condone that kind of violence, but in this case, yes, I do. He's out there someplace. They'll find him. Slurmy Scott says so many subs are now rushing to be the first to make a clever jab at shows they hate to watch. Get a life. Yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, I stopped doing that, Slurmy Scott. It just like I said, I don't need to. If I really wanted to build a channel on hate watching, I could fairly easily. It's not that hard to do. There are so many shows out there that really suck. Cloak and Dagger, um, Orville, that I could really, you know, make a business out of it. I could get a couple of thousand subscribers fairly easily, tens of thousands, and just talk about the same 3 things over and over and over and over again and not do anything new. But it's not worth it, quite honestly. It's boring, it's not creative, it's not healthy, really. And quite frankly, the world is filled with all kinds of negativity as it is. As in as somebody said, art is suffering, life is pain. You don't need to make it that way, quite honestly. Slurmy Scott says, Heresy, Mufinobi, don't listen to him. We know you love Cloak and Dagger. He does. He has been bothering me so much about doing a Cloak and Dagger review that he wants to do. And I keep telling him just needs to start a channel just for that alone. Pen Farm Girl says, I still say Inhuman sets the bar for the worst show ever. Ooh, worst show ever, huh? The Inhumans was pretty bad. I have to say that, Pen Farm Girl. For comic book shows, yes, I would say it's the worst show ever. For the worst show ever, though, I'm sure there's some stuff out there that I buried in my subconscious just because I didn't want to do it. Pen Farm Girl says Dennis preferred Stephen Moyer in The Gifted. Yeah. That was a bad show, The Gifted. It really was. And I'm glad that it was finally put down just for the good of humanity. It needed to be. It really did. It was doing more harm to the X-Men franchise than the X-Men movies have been doing. Yeah, I have to think about that one too, Viking Mutual. What would be the worst show ever? Yeah, that's kind of a hard one to broach. Pen Farm Girl says, "Can we take a minute to discuss one that pulled back from the brink?" Yes, Pen Farm Girl. iZombie. If you haven't seen my episode 3 review of iZombie, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a great episode. It finally pulled back from the brink. The first 2 episodes of season 5 were horrible. Uh, it was written by somebody else. You could tell it had a different voice. It had no humor in it. It was taking things too seriously. It was mirroring politics that are happening now, stuff that the series had never dealt with before, things that the series had never done before. And then season 3 was kind of like a total 180 and went back to the way things used to be, where they weren't dealing with those politics. They were all kind of punny that they normally were, and they brought back the light, as they say. And that is what you want in a show. You want something, and it's dealing with some heavy subjects still. It really is. But at the same time, it just brought shit back the way it's supposed to be. Mufinobi says, well, I may have to reconsider my subscription to this channel. We were promised an abundance of Cloak and Dagger content. I keep telling you, Mufinobi, you need to make some videos and let me know. I can post it up here. I am willing to host if that's what you want to do. I know you have a burning desire to talk about that show. That is one of your favorites. So, hey, Mr. Roboto. Anders Merrick says, hate is low hanging fruit. Fuel of negativity will sustain you for a while, but what will remain is emptiness. Exactly. The Jedi got it right, quite honestly, about the Sith. And that's what that is all about. Bringing this back to genre and Star Wars. Pen Farm Girl says, I want to see you get VB to co host Fanobi. Oh, wow. That would be interesting. I'd subscribe to that. Oh, man. Yeah, that would be a fun one to watch. I would just love to see a real live, you know, Fanobi watching Cloak and Dagger live kind of thing. Just his reaction to it as it's happening. Any cool marine biologist stories? No, there's no such thing as cool marine biologist stories, Mr. Roboto. There really isn't. Uh, Viking bitch says for Cloak and Dagger, that would be me screaming for an hour. Well, there's commercials in between Viking bitch, so you'll actually get a reprieve. You get to watch something that's of quality in between Cloak and Dagger. Tell that to Aquaman. Yeah, the less said about Aquaman, the better. What else do I have going on here? Oh, well, this was an interesting one. Kevin Feige kind of let this one out of the bag a little bit, and he may be teasing some stuff. I don't know. But he says that Marvel Phase 4 will probably see the real Mandarin and the Ten Rings as the next big bad. Now, you probably all remember that Ben Kingsley played a version of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3, excuse me, Iron Man 2, and it wasn't well received. But if you go back and take a look at the DVD of that, there was a Marvel one shot. The Marvel one shots were great little things they were doing. They were doing like about a 15, 20-minute mini movie, if you will, or episode based on it. And so the Marvel one shot for Iron Man 2 was called All Hail the King. And it was Ben Kingsley's character in prison being touted as the Mandarin, and everyone was looking up to him and all this kind of stuff until he gets broken. We don't know if he gets broken out of prison or if they just take him out of prison by the real Mandarin. The real Mandarin is pissed at him. We don't ever see this guy. We just know that he gets broken out of prison by the Mandarin and the real Ten Rings. So there is a real Mandarin. There is a real Ten Rings out there. Um, and that is probably going to be the next big bad for the next movie. I, for one, am looking forward to that because that is a storyline that was not cleared up. That was something that was just kind of left dangling in the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mr. Roboto says, I prefer Fing Fang Foom. Uh, I think that's too much, quite honestly, Mr. Roboto. I think we need to pull it back a little bit because they went cosmic. You need to go back to Earth. do a little Earth stuff first, and then you can go, bigger again. And that's more Doctor Strange territory. I know that he's an Avengers character, but I really would like to see the Mandarin come back, to tell you the truth. Yeah. Slurmy Scott says strap Fenobi to a chair and put cloak and dagger on. I would sub to that, even if it's cruel and inhumane. Yeah. But yeah, the Mandarin is the next big bad. I'm on board for it because I mean, what else are you gonna do? I'm trying to think of anything else in the Marvel storylines that you can do. I mean, you could do the Infinity Gauntlet quest with Adam Warlock, but then you'd have to introduce Adam Warlock at this point, and it's kind of pointless now that there's no Thanos. So Ironmonger, they already did the Ironmonger though. So yeah, doesn't need to be done again. Yeah. Sorry, Mandarin was in Iron Man 3, right? Yes, it was 3. Sorry, I thought it was 2, and I'm just yeah, my head is all over the place on when it comes to that now. Yep. All right. So an interesting thing here, we keep talking about DC stuff and DC stuff being kind of all over the place at the moment, and it really is. So much so that the CW Seed, I don't know if anyone knows what the CW Seed is. It is their it's an app that shows old CW shows and also made for the CW. I guess there are failed pilots or failed series that are small series that are made just for the CW Seed. Well, they're doing an animated series based on Deathstroke. Deathstroke being the character from Teen Titans and DC Comics and all that stuff, called Deathstroke Knights and Dragons. Why? I have no idea. And I don't know why this isn't a DC universe or Hulu or any of the other stuff that they're doing. Well, actually, Hulu now is Disney, so sorry, wrong thing. But yeah, it's the MTV2 of CETV. CWTV. Yeah, well, CW has their own. It's kind of funny. CW has two different apps. They have the CW app, which has all their TV shows on it. Then they have the CW Seed. Did you miss the Batman news, Joker? You did. It's at the beginning. Well, kind of near the beginning. I kind of got into it fairly early with that, Joker. And we've all agreed that Mr. Bean should be the new Batman. Hands down. That's what everyone, and as a matter of fact, everyone's signing petitions on it. We should get at least 3 million people to sign the petition. So, oh my God. But yeah, CW Seed, man. I mean, it's really weird. I mean, that's what they showed the Constantine animated City of Angels, I believe is what it was called. So they have that in there as well. And yeah, they just had all kinds of weird shows on there. So I'm kind of questioning why they're putting it there. It's just very weird. Oh, so what else do we have here? Did everyone get a chance to see the full trailer? Well, not the full trailer, the second full trailer for Swamp Thing for DC Universe, which of course is coming out May 31st here at the end of the month. So it's going to be nice. When Doom Patrol ends the next week, Swamp Thing begins. I will be covering Swamp Thing here. That is going to take the place of Doom Patrol when Doom Patrol leaves. So, Stormy Scott says the CW finally hooked me on Netflix with Roswell. Oh no. No, not Roswell, Slurmy. That's not good. No. Oh, yeah. That's a bad one to get hooked on. But yeah, the Swamp Thing. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't look good. It's kind of in the middle of the road for me right now. And again, James Wan is the showrunner on this. He is also directing the first episode. He's producing it. He has his hand in a lot of different things. He's working on the Annabelle movie still. He's working on the next Aquaman movie, supposedly. He is also directing. I can't believe that he's doing this. So James Wan is also going to produce the series of, and he's going to direct the first episode for Mark Millar's The Magic Order on Netflix. This man is working on so many projects all at once and is pumping out so much stuff. He has got to be on coke. That's all I can say. There is no way you can be pumping out this much material and not be and getting any sleep at all. So you have to be chemically enhanced, shall I say, in order to be working on this many projects. Looks like a paranormal romance. Mr. Roboto, that's how Swamp Thing has always been. Swamp Thing has been always a paranormal thing, and they're basing off of Alan Moore's work primarily, and Alan Moore's run, which is very supernatural in nature, and I'm kind of glad about that. It was actually a really good run. So, Viking bitches, I'm looking forward to Good Omens. I hope they do it justice. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that, and see if they do anything good with that. I'm just kind of weirded out that Good Omens is going to be dropped. I think they're dropping it all at once, if I'm not mistaken. And for me as a reviewer, that makes it hellish to try and go through it because everyone binge watches now, and so trying to do an episode by episode recap doesn't work anymore with that kind of stuff. Or recap and review, all that kind of good things. Mr. Roboto says, "No, my Swamp Thing fights eco villains." Oh, you're talking about the cartoon? I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. That was a horrible cartoon too. It was great for the time, but you can look back on it now, it was pretty bad. You can well, Swamp Thing is just out of reach here. He's over here where my finger is. So he'll be moving into the place of prominence now that some things have ended. I've got to move Hellboy out of the way there, since Hellboy is probably not coming back for a while. Good Omen's supposed to be a one and done. There will only be one season. Oh, interesting. Good Omens looks promising. It's meth and coke now. Get hip to the times. It's butt chugging. That's what I thought, Slummy. Thought it was just butt chugging. Joker the Third says the raid. Oh, you're talking about the ant spray? Oh, you're talking about the raid redemption. Yeah. I prefer Dread to the raid. So that's all I'm going to say. The raid's okay. But yeah. Okay, what else we got here? There's a lot of stuff that came out this week. We also got the first full trailer for Batwoman, which is going to be released in the CW in the fall. How do I feel about it? There was a lot of obvious wire work in it. I mean, you see people floating down and all that kind of stuff. It's supposed to be part of the Arrowverse stuff. I know it is going to be. So the Arrowverse is going to be doing Crisis on Infinite Earths in a way, in a form of, I guess you could say. And there was a cryptic remark made, something about just like in the comics, things collapse. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know if it means that they're going to be bringing all these multiverses down into one universe, which, if that's the case, then Supergirl is now going to be in the same world as Arrow, Legends, all that kind of stuff, and they're all going to be into one world. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do, is they're finally going to merge them all into one world instead of having all these multiple Earths, which would make sense. Then you can have team ups, you can have crossovers, all that kind of stuff a little bit better. In the white space, maybe they might be in the white space, the space between spaces. Yeah. Slurmy Scott says, I heard that Batwoman is going to be a lesbian. And is this true, or just haters getting? No, Batwoman, the character, is a lesbian. She has been, and they are carrying it over into that as well. So Yeah, into the series. And I have no problem with it. I mean, quite honestly, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. It's just you have a lot of people, you know, who have hangups about things. The sooner we can ban religion, the better. Showdown in Little Tokyo. What about RoboCop? You talking about all kinds of different old movies here, you know? And yes, what was I just watched True Lies last night, which, by the way, if you go back and watch it, if you go by today's standards, it is very sexist. Very, very sexist, as a matter of fact. It would never get made today. A lot of Arnold's movies were at the time, and so that's all I'm going to say. What I'm actually looking forward to is that Amazon's going to be doing a Conan series. Yes, you heard that right, a Conan the Barbarian series. I completely forgot that they were doing that. And then I read something about it yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, I forgot about that. I want to see how that's going to be done." It could be really shitty. In fact, I'm 90% sure it's going to be done fairly shitty. I will be surprised if it's any good at all. Mr. Roboto says at this point everything is sexist. Yeah. Man, I just wish people could go ahead and make a movie and cast whoever the fuck they want in it, quite honestly. Stormy Scott says, seems irrelevant to the character, or will we be seeing Batwoman doing the walk of shame some morning? Um, who knows, quite honestly, Stormy Scott. Um, there was her being a lesbian in the comics was actually part of the story and actually worked in context with the story in the comics. How that's going to work in the series, I don't know. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not a big deal. Just kind of like Mr. Terrific in Arrow happened to be a gay character. Not a big fucking deal. Granted, Mr. Terrific isn't in the show anymore because he's going away. The actor is going away, but still. Who do you type spoiler tags? How do I type spoiler tags, Joker? Is that what you're asking? There's a little tag section in the videos for YouTube that I can type in the tags. Except he is not. He is an atheist, though. Who's an atheist? Me? I'm not an atheist. Nor am I a religious person or anything like that. Yeah. Actually, an atheist is a religious person, believe it or not. Mr. Terrific. Okay. Except he is not. Oh, you're talking about Mr. Terrific being that he's not gay. He is gay. He was married to another man. It does work. It's not a big deal. Quite honestly, it's 21st century, for God's sakes. Let's see here. This is interesting that I found. So there's going to be an animated movie based on the Goon comic from Eric Powell, and it's in development at Fox. Finally, they had worked on one back in God, I want to say it was 2010, 2012. There was a Kickstarter that was done, and Paul Giamatti was one of the voices on it. This one, Paul Giamatti was like voicing a lot of stuff at the time, and it looked really good. There was actually a 5-minute, 10-minute trailer that was released, or um, section that was released based on the animation itself. It looked really good. It looked like the comic. It felt like the comic, and it was really kind of a lot of fun. And I really want to see more of that. I really want to see this the Goon world come into. Yeah, it is in development hell, Mr. Roboto, but now it's actually moving along over at Fox. That is, unless Disney kills it, which is always a possibility. Disney can also kill it. So, Mr. Roboto says, "So is it canon?" Yeah, it is canon, Mr. Roboto, about Mr. Terrific. It always has been. It's in the comics too. So, and the way they played it in the comics was kind of matter of factly. They were like, "Yeah, whatever." So there you go. ESPN also Joe Greer. What are you talking about? ESPN. I mean, ESPN to me is pretty much a channel I don't watch. So, and yes, it is the Goon is in development purgatory, but it is a good comic, and I do want to see it done right. So hopefully they get it done right. And Paul Giamatti was a great voice character for that show, for that uh, project, I guess you can say. And I hope they can get him back again. That would be a lot of fun. This is something I'm not really jazzed about. So, there's a lot of things that are wrong with this one. So, bear with me for a second. The Stephen Paul, who's a producer, he produced Ghost Rider, the really bad Nick Cage movie. He announced that he has acquired the majority interest in the Atlas Comics library. Now you're going to say, what the hell is Atlas Comics? Why have I never heard of it before? It was a small little comics company in the 70s that lasted for a hot minute. I think the longest run of comics they ever had was 4 issues. That was it. So he has bought the entire comics library, or he has the majority interest in it. And he has set about putting Akiva Goldsman, or excuse me, Akiva fuck Batman Goldsman in as the person to oversee the writer's room for developing these characters. And there's only 9 people in the writer's room, by the way, which is more than enough to fuck up any kind of story. And they are going to be developing movies based on these characters. Which one? Dennis both had Nick. He was both of them. Mr. Roboto. He's the producer for both of them. Yeah. So, Andres Mark, I already talked about Rick and Morty back at the beginning. Sorry. So yeah, he had done both movies, Mr. Roboto. Viking Bitch says I saw a commercial of Krypton and the tiniest Lobo ever. Good thing I don't watch that show. Yeah. We'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, this guy has basically taken a really shitty comics company with some crappy characters, and he's hired probably one of the worst screenwriters ever to make these movies. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to this at all. Nick Cage Superman was better. Actually, if you really want to, Nick Cage finally did play Superman. He played him in the Teen Titans Go movie. He voiced him as well, which is pretty hilarious. It's if you want to see a good parody, a parody done right of people doing parody of their own work, it's Teen Titans Go the movie. Some really good stuff. So back to Viking Bitch's comment about Krypton and Lobo. That Lobo character looks horrible. And yes, he looks like a little teeny tiny Lobo. They keep shooting him from below, which is what you do when an actor is really short and you want to make him look bigger. All the screenshots that I've seen of him are everything shot from a low angle. Why? There are so many actors out there, so many actors out there that you could get that uh, yeah, the new Lobo is, been cut down to size, I guess you could say. He's Lobo looks about 5 feet tall. The makeup was really bad. Yeah, the makeup looks like clown makeup. They should have just CGI'd him at that point. Well, they didn't have the money for it because it's sci-fi, and after the first season, they usually sci-fi cuts the budget by half. As we saw with Happy. The guy that killed an entire planet. Exactly. He so the history of Lobo is it used to be he was able to make copies of himself using his blood. That was way back when Lobo was a serious character. They revamped him somewhere in the 90s, I want to say, something like that, where he became this almost a Deadpool-esque kind of character who supposedly had killed off his entire planet because he was bored. He was a kid at the time and made a virus that went across the planet and killed everyone except for himself. He had an immunity to it because he made it that way. And now he's an intergalactic bounty hunter that goes across and breaks the fourth wall quite often. Does that sound familiar? And interacts with heroes and villains and all this kind of stuff and kills a lot of people as well, but never the heroes or the villains. Joker the third says I might finish the season. Yeah, Krypton, and the reason why we call it Krypton is that was Marlon Brando's pronunciation of Krypton. Is he could never say Krypton, he could always say Krypton from the old Donner movie. Yeah, if you go back and watch with Marlon Brando as Jor-El, he always says Krypton. Yes, the members of Krypton, and yeah, he can never say Krypton. It was always Krypton, and that's pretty much what this show is. It's not really Superman. It's not really Krypton. It's Krypton. It's not a real representation of it. It's actually a really big train wreck. You know, if it went more the camp side, I wish they would just kind of go into the camp of it and follow Gotham's lead on this. If they followed Gotham's lead, it would be an awesome show because it would be so train wrecky that I would go and watch it all the time. That's where I kind of want them to go. They're just there. They're on the verge of it. They just need a little nudge to go into the camp version. That's all I want. I want camp version of this. And just embrace the camp. That's all you need to do, and then you could just start doing comic book shit, you know, willy nilly. You could throw it all in. I mean, you already have Adam Strange in there for God's sake. Hey, Gotham has Batman and Bane. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It had a version of Batman and Bane. Of course, you never really saw Batman except for the last 5 seconds of it, but still, they had it in there. Viking Bitch says Lobo is way too much for a show like Krypton. He is very adult entertainment. Yeah, he is definitely a rated R character. There is no way you can do him justice on a TV show in prime time. Mr. Roboto says Lobo is no Deadpool. He's just Lobo and he exists in space. But he, you know, he rides with the space dolphins. Come on. And he's a bastich. His words, not mine. Stormy Scott says, anyone want to make a prediction about the Game of Thrones finale? I fear being left hanging and not in a good way. Um, ugh. I it's not going to be pretty. Let's just say that. So here's some of the theories that came out of the last episode is that Varys was trying to poison Daenerys, of course. He was using the child to do it. And he may have succeeded on a few attempts of getting the poison into her food, but not enough to kill her, but enough to make her insane. There's one. The other is that Bran, he had been touched by the Night King, and everything the Night King touches turns evil. Therefore, Bran is evil. Everything he's been doing has been a plan towards evil, and maybe the new Night King at this point. And he may have been controlling all the army of the dead, including the Night King. That's the reason why he was doing his wearing stuff that he was doing, because he was actually controlling him. Dig on that one for a little bit. So I'll just leave those two little things out there. And who's going to get the Iron Throne? That's a good question. Who knows? Lobo is PG-13 at best. No, Mr. Roboto, if you read any of the Lobo comics, it's rated R. It really is rated R. There is a lot of blood and guts. Viking bitch says, "Damn, Dennis, that is a dark theory." Yeah, it is. But I'm kind of thinking that's where we're going with this, and we'll see. I don't know. They only have uh 88 minutes, 83 minutes, I think is what they said, something like that in the last episode. And so we'll find out tomorrow. You'll all find out along with me. And your guess is as good as mine. Who's everyone keeps saying that Tyrion's going to get the Iron Throne? Could very well be. I'm pretty sure John is either going to sacrifice himself or he's going to end up dying to take out Danny's. I wouldn't mind going out without a happy ending. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going out without a happy ending either. There are some movies like that out there. I'm not going to say which ones because actually I can spoil one because it's decades old, and if you haven't seen it by now, you probably should. It's called Miracle Mile. It's probably one of the bleakest fucking movies you'll ever see in your life, and it's about the apocalypse, or I should say, the start of the apocalypse, and that has the bleakest fucking ending ever, and it's an end to the movie. So, uh, Andres Merrick says, "Wasn't the throne in the Red Keep that collapsed?" Probably, but it might not have gotten collapsed. It might have been in the part that still stayed upright. And supposedly, Jamie is not dead either because we haven't seen a body, and I don't think Cersei's dead either, to tell you the truth. So, Pen Farm Girl says we need to see Danny's vision come through. Yeah, exactly. Ah, so who knows? Who knows what they've got planned? I mean, at this point, excuse me, anyone's guess is as good as mine because we don't know what the writers have done. What they've dreamed up. They don't have any direction from George R. R. Martin. They've come up with their own stuff, and we'll see where it's at. Pen Farm Girl says, "Yeah, shoot for it being knee high by the 4th of July, but I gave up growing corn for watching corny TV shows." Funny. Oh, you were asking how the corn is what Mr. Roboto said. There we go. Got it. Mr. Roboto says, "Dennis, how does Danny the Street have muscles? Never mind. Best not to think about it." He doesn't have muscles, but he can have an orgasm. Or they can have an orgasm. Remember, it's genderqueer using the yes. What have the writers done? Lots of butt chugging. Yes, Slurmy Scott. That's kind of a norm now in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure they just have air hoses with cocaine stuffed up everyone's keisters and in all the offices. So as soon as you walk into one of the writers' room or something like that, yep, plug one in and there you go. Go to town. Hit a button, you get a little reward. Oh man. So one of my last things I have on here, actually, it is the last thing that I have on here. Gennady Tartakovsky, who you've probably heard me talk about before. Um, he did, of course, Samurai Jack. He did the very first animated Clone Wars movie that was done, or not movie, I should say, series that was done in small little 15-minute segments, and which was an awesome series, by the way. If you can ever find it, go and watch it. That was the thing that actually pushed me into going to see episode 3 because that was supposed to tie it actually ties directly in to episode 3. And I said, if that's what they're leading with, then I'm gonna go and watch this movie. And then of course it turned out to be what it was. So Gennady Tartakovsky is doing a new Adult Swim series called Primal. and they released the trailer for it, which is up on my Facebook page. So if you get a chance to take a look at it, go and take a look. It's awesome. It doesn't have any dialogue to it or anything like that. It just looks like Conan meets Commandi. Uh, it's just primal, is really what it is, and I'm looking forward to it. Anything that Tartakovsky touches is awesome. Viking bitch says yes. According to Future Man rules, Cliff could have had an orgasm in his brain. Yeah, but we don't know how Flex's muscles work, and if it works on physical sensation or if it works on brains or not. Because it could have just been a physical sensation, which of course would make sense because Cliff does not have that equipment. So he wouldn't have gotten the physical sensation. Mr. Roberto says, anyone want that Youngblood live action movie? Not really. Could we get a Commandi live action show? That would be awesome. Although the dog character would be a little bit hard to pull off. I mean, you could do it, but it would be hard to pull off. It would blow a lot of the budget, quite honestly. And if you could tie in Batman somehow, because Commandi does tie in Batman a little bit. There is a Bat Cave in the future, in Commandi's future, that has a lot of tech in it. That's all I can say. That would be awesome to do a live action. Hopefully, DC Universe decides that that's what they want to do. They are pulling all these different um, not B characters really, but obscure characters into these new shows that they are doing. I mean, Doom Patrol. I never in a million years would have thought that Doom Patrol would have been one of the best series on TV right now. Titans was horrible. I was waiting for Titans to be good, and it wasn't. Swamp Thing, we'll see what Swamp Thing is going to be like. So, yeah. So, Commandi would be right up their alley, to tell you the truth. Commandi would be just an awesome thing for them to do. Pen Farm Girl says Commandi had the Superman costume too. Yeah, he had it someplace in his collection of things. So, how many Commandi stories do they have to work with? There's quite a few. It was a series for a couple of years, so I think they could work with it. Mr. Roboto says it also had Old Man Superman who said, "I'm a man." Did it? I don't remember. It's been a while for me in the Commandi stuff. So another Jack Kirby. Yeah, Commandi. Slummy Scott says the Umbrella Academy is so much better than I expected. Yeah, the Umbrella Academy too. That Dark Horse is working with Netflix now to develop some of their stuff. That is going to be awesome. Um, that I'm wondering what they could do with some of their properties. Dark Horse also has Sin City still, which granted, I don't know if that would work as a series. It could, maybe. I don't know. They could always bring back Time Cop. Time Cop was a good Dark Horse series, and just do it right, not do it as a procedural, but do it the way it was in the comics. Yeah, I mean, also Dark Horse has Hellboy. Just saying, you know, you could do Hellboy right as a series on Netflix instead of doing it as a movie. Instead of doing Hellboy, do the BPRD. That way you can have Hellboy come in as a supporting character every now and then. You don't need to actually have Hellboy in there all the time. And that would make things so much better. Yeah. Ah. So, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the like button. If you don't like what you see, you can hit the dislike button. I just asked you down in the comment section down below. Tell me what it is you don't like about the show or the content or whatever. Give me this little constructive criticism here. Also, you can hit the bell. The bell will give you notifications of when I'm going to be on live again next. And if you already hit the bell, don't hit it again. It will unclick it. You can also go into the bell settings and get as many or as little notifications as you want from me. And just so you know, even clicking the bell doesn't mean you're going to get notifications all the time. It is a 50-50 probability with the way YouTube works. Mr. Roboto, Dennis, was The Shape of Water about a god or the origin of Abe Sapien? I don't know. And I know it wasn't about Abe Sapien, even though Guillermo del Toro wrote and directed it. It's your guess is as good as mine on that. It was just an idea Guillermo del Toro had, and he ran with it with no explanation. He is on Twitter, though. You could always ask him. He does answer from time to time. He is very, 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 very prolific on Twitter to the point where I actually had to unfollow him. So, and thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat. It was a lot of fun. See you, Viking bitch. Have a good day. My schedule is up on suspendedfanimation.com. You can also find it up on Facebook as well. Tomorrow is going to be Game of Thrones. Monday is going to be the finishing up of the second season of The Tick. I'm going episode by episode. Wednesday, of course, is Happy. Thursdays is I Zombie. Fridays is Doom Patrol. And of course, Saturday is what you're on next here, which is Saturday Morning Blast Off. Well, not next, but what you're watching right now. Flying to USA, Florida, Orlando. Something I should not miss while you're there in Orlando. You have Disney World there in Orlando, Andres Merrick. There you go. You can go to Disney World. So next is Happy, right? Well, what are you talking about? Gary? Who's Gary, Mr. Roboto? That's not me. Stormy Scott says, later, my invisible friends. Hope unhappy Game of Thrones fans don't riot Sunday. Oh, they will. Oh, man. Oh, I also have a Twitter. I also have an Instagram. And I also have a Patreon page. I just haven't set up tiers yet on the Patreon page. So that will happen at some point in time. I just need to work on it. Let's see, anything else that I'm forgetting? Oh, if you're still on the fence about joining up, you can take a look at the videos that are going to be up here. There's going to be a video taken from my video library, and it's going to be based on the algorithms of everything you watch. If you like what you see there, you can hit the subscribe button over here. There we go. Yeah, who knows, Slurmy Scott? They probably will burn things down if shit doesn't go their way. Who knows? God. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go enjoy your Saturday. I'm gonna go and do the same. I've got a little dog here that wants to go and go for a little walk. So she's ignoring me, of course. And I can see her eyes are open and she's just not really paying attention to me. She's trying to ignore me. But we'll go and do that. I will see you all tomorrow for Game of Thrones. Even if the place burns down, we'll see what happens. Anyway, have a good one. Take a look at the videos. Hit the subscribe button. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have to have a petition signed by millions and millions of fans in order to reopen that door and close it the way they want it to. Have a good day, everyone.